1 on your keypad to ask a question. Now, head coach Johnny Dawkins is Knights 17-5, 7-3 in American Athletic Conference play, and coming off a road win at SMU. Next up is the War on I-4 on Wednesday night in Orlando on ESPN News. Coach Dawkins, tell us about your Knights heading into a pivotal game.
Well, I think we are, we're in a position where we're improving. I think our guys have had an understanding that we're halfway through our season, and there's a sense of urgency to keep getting better and to keep moving forward. I thought we played one of our best games the other night with our personnel. I thought a number of guys really played well together, and we haven't had that a lot this season, so it's great to see multiple guys play well at the same time, and that's what we were hoping to get, and it's good to see, and we want to build on that.
Thank you, Coach. And again, a reminder to our media members, *1 on your keypad to ask a question. Before we go to those, Coach, coming off that big road win at SMU, your son Aubrey Dawkins heating up a career-high 26 points. What has been your takeaways on his play for you this season?
Well, I think he's been very solid. I think he's been, consistent with his play, with his effort, and that's all you can ask for. He's been leading. He's one of our captains. I think he's done a good job of establishing, a part of a leadership contingent that we have with he and BJ and Taco and Chad. I think they've done a good job with our guys, and that's, I kind of challenged him to be a part of that, and he stepped up in that area.
Thank you, Coach. At this time, we'll move on to our media questions.
We'll take our next question from Brian Murphy with the Orlando Sentinel. Please go ahead.
Hi, Coach. One of the players yesterday who stepped up for you certainly was Colin Smith with 18, 10, and 5, a huge game for him. Because he's a sophomore and because you have a lot of key seniors on this team who will be leaving after this season, obviously it's important for Colin to continue to play well this year. But with a game like that yesterday, what is his feeling like over the next 2.5 years that he's going to be with this program?
Well, I think Colin has a chance to be one of the best players, in our conference and in the country as he continues to develop. He has a lot of talent. His is just his understanding, how to utilize it. He has the ability, and like all young players, is trying to figure it out. He's going through that process of figuring out who he can become. But that's our job as coaches, to help him along that path, keep teaching him, keep guiding him. But I love everything about the young man. I love his competitiveness. He has a good work ethic. He just needs to keep grinding, and we'll keep working with him, and I think he'll just continue to get better for us.
And then how much have you seen from USF this year as they've made a pretty big turnaround from where they were last season?
I hadn't had a chance to see him much. I'm starting to scout him now, of course, because, we're getting ready to play them. But, I know Brian, I've watched him coach for a long time. He's a terrific coach. He's done a great job with his program, and that's no surprise. And, I know their team is going to be well coached. As I said, they're going to play hard. They're going to play the right way, and that's been his MO his entire time coaching, and I think his team reflects that this season as well.
Thank you.
We'll take our next question from Russ Wood with RunningTheBulls.com. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Coach. As you get ready for this rivalry game, you've played and coached in rivalry games. How do you get your players to embrace the rivalry, but still staying focused on what you have to get done for your season?
Well, I think you have to make sure that, you stay consistent with your message and what you want to do, game in and game out. I'm a big believer in that, as opposed to, looking at certain games on your schedule. And I think when you do that, you can have too much fluctuation. You can have too many ups and downs. And so we just try to stay consistent with what we do, the same message that we give. We try to give that message, and we approach it that way now. For the fans and everyone, on I-4, of course, it's going to be different. Everyone's rooting for their team. But for our guys, we need to make sure that we stay grounded in what we do and not get out of character no matter who we face.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
We'll take our next question from Don Wade with the Daily Memphian. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, obviously it's always been tough to get road wins in college basketball. I'm kind of curious from your standpoint, what do you think is the toughest thing for players when they go on the road? And then what's the toughest thing for coaching staff when you're on the road?
The toughest thing for players is, like you said, all the things you have to go through to get where you're going. I mean, you're comfortable in your own bed, you're comfortable in your own environment, so you have to make that adjustment there. So you try to make the trip as seamless as possible for the players. It's going to be different. The atmosphere is going to be different. You're not going to have many fans in that building, so you have to be ready to adjust to a more hostile crowd as opposed to your family and friends and your student body here supporting you. So you're going to be in a hostile environment. You have to make sure you adjust to that as well. And so those are things that you have to just, be prepared for. Is to travel. You have to be prepared for, when you walk into that arena, it's not going to be the same as at home, of course. And you have to be mentally, tough and mentally prepared for
it. Do you agree that adjusting to a different shooting background is one of the toughest things for the players?
I think that depends on the player. I think that, the rim is still the same height. Nets are going to be the nets. The background may be a little bit different, but that basket's the same height, and that ball is going to be the same. So I'm a big believer in, that shouldn't be a huge adjustment for players. I think that some of the other things maybe, but basket and rims are the same. They played on those basket and rims their entire life. So the background, the depth perception at different places could cause some inconsistencies and some things you may have to work through and shoot around and so forth. But I think you should be able to, find your way to be, fairly solid, on pretty much any basket. If you're a good shooter, you're a good shooter.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Coach Dawkins, thank you so much for your